up, folks? Sean the Average Angler. It is another video. This one is about some interesting rigging techniques for more bites, really. I mean, these are some techniques that you don't see every day, or stuff that makes a big difference in my fishing that I want to share with you. The first one, I'm going to use a Panorama, because when I got these and saw, you know, how thin they are, I was like, well, what am I going to, how do you rig it? Well, I've seen people nose rig it and such, but I'm going to rig it with the Neko Hack by, I think these are by G-Crack, are they? Yep, G-Crack. Now these are the mediums, okay? I have a pack of large in the boat, and what you do, these things just jump out of my hands all the time. This is the Neko Hack, okay? There's a little hole in the plastic there that you put the hook through. So you can position it in different areas of the bait. Put it more towards the front. So the hook's going to be here. Then we're going to take a nail weight. Now you can use, this is a Tungsten Nail. And they have these screw-in types, which there's actually better screw-in types now, and I'll link it in the description. And then they have the Z-Man, which is a dual barb. On this particular bait, the Panorama, I'm going to put a nail weight up in his face here. And then with this rigged in the front, it's going to cause it to spiral, because we will have some drag coming off of the hook. Mind you, this isn't the hook that I would normally use for this, but it's what I'm going to use. Well, let's just use this. So you just take it through that hole in the plastic, like so. Okay, but I would turn that the other way, not the way I did it. It's backwards. I like it this way better, okay? That way our line is coming back this way, away from the bait. And even on slack line, this is going to cause it to spiral. So the death spiral down to the bottom. It's not a lot of weight that's in there, so it's not going to fall overly fast. But the beauty of this is it saves your bait. Okay, you'll catch many more fish on one bait than by putting a hook into the bait. Let's go over, that is a size medium, by the way, for the Panorama. Some other baits that's really popular on the Doe Live SS gill here. Note the thickness of this, you will need a large. And then the other one, there's so many of these styles of baits now. And they can all be rigged this way. But the Spiron, got the little Kicky tail. Okay, same deal. This one I like to rig it back a little further, because I really want to make this, since it has the kicking tail there, I really want to make this kind of glide a little bit more. Not so much of the spiral. It can go in a spiral as long as it's really wide. So we're going to move it back closer to about the center of the bait. I may also use a heavier weight on this instead of just one nail, maybe put two in there, or just a bigger one. We saw Takumi Ito win on this rig earlier in the year. All right, so that's a pretty cool one. I've done the Neko Hack in a video before. Now the cool thing about them, really, you can put them in just about any flat bait, a beaver, a rage bug, anything that is flat. Honestly, you could technically put them in round baits too, but anything flat is going to have that gliding motion. The bronco bug, the beaver, the Doe Live beaver, and who knows, maybe that'll resolve my problem of tearing the Doe Lives up so fast, except that this is different. You're not necessarily throwing this in the same places. Now, what I do have next for throwing into cover. All right, folks, thanks for clicking on the video. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch the videos I make. We're nearing the end of the year here, so Merry Christmas to everybody. Help me get to 2,900 before the end of the year. We got 10 or 11 to 12 days. It's a lot to ask, I know, but there's a lot of you watching the videos that aren't subscribed. So if I just got a small percentage of you to subscribe to the channel, It'd be greatly appreciated and really help the channel out. We got great things coming in 2025. Thanks again. The button's right there. It's free. This one's special. Now, there's a lot of different names for these. The Hula Grub is the official name. But what I'm going to call this one is a spider jig, mostly because the way it falls reminds me more of a spider. Now, a big part of that's because the way we're going to rig it. You want to use the screw in, or you can use that Z-Man push in, and you're going to take the head and just feed it down and through the bait. Now, as you know, we fish these, and then I would put a dab of glue. Before you push it all the way in, I would put a dab of glue in there. Okay? Then you're going to take your hook, grab it by the booty there, and we're going to go straight in between the tails. And this hook's probably a little big. Should probably really use a 2/0, and I believe this is a 3, but we're going to see if it works. Hey, look at there. All right. So it works, and you'll see as it falls, it's going to fall like that. Okay, the kickers are going to kick. This is going to come back, and when it hits the ground, this will slowly come back to the ground. The cool thing about this, one, it's very unique movement. Okay, you're going to pull it up, it's going to go away. The weight's at the bottom, it's going to trail away from you. Okay, but the other thing is just the action of the bait is not something they're used to seeing. Now this is a 4-inch. If you use a 5-inch Yamamoto Hula Grub, but rig it spider jig, this thing can be thrown in the thickest of cover. The only determining factor is going to be what pound test you're throwing on it. Now this is a light wire hook, and this is going to fall in there for me somewhere more around in that Neko or free rig type area. This is just another rig that you can throw, and those of you that know they eat the heck out of these Yamamotos, right? The hookup ratio is fantastic, and this is just another way for it to fall. You can do this with an Ica. You can do it with the Yamamoto creature bait, bigger profile, but you can still do it with it. And thinking outside the box is a great way to get bites. Okay, another one. This one has just scored me a lot of fish this year without me having to retie a lot or break off baits, because these baits break off, okay? And that is a Ned bait. Now you can use whatever you like. I like Elastex. I like the buoyancy of it, the way it floats, but I'm not the biggest fan of these little small ones. You will see it fits this Weedless Ned just fine. Now, I've thrown a lot of different baits on this. I actually prefer something a little longer. Ultimately, I like to take the big TRD and I like to cut it down. So I like a little bit more length than this, than what this one is, but somewhere in between the two is really, I think, the happy median. Anyway, this is a Bass Union. You'll see the initials there. Bass Union. This one is the Ned head, Weedless Ned head. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not sponsored by Bass Union. I just think these are the greatest thing ever, okay? Especially for Elastex. That EWG works really well with Elastex. It works with regular stuff very, very well also. Now let me show you why I say Bass Union, because I've got some other ones here. And the Bass Union Shakey head, this is a 1/0 1/4 ounce head, okay? With the Neds, I tend to go with the 1/0. Now they have a Shakey head. This is not it. This is another brand, but I want you to look at the hook. I don't know if you can really tell. Well, you can tell up here. the hook, there we go, is much smaller. I don't know what they're fishing for with this. And I'm not going to tell you the brand because I don't want to knock them. But I don't know, man. This is not a big hook. That is a 1/0. Okay, the Bass Union Ned head has done wonders for me. I actually just placed another order because I'm out of the Shakey heads. Now the Shakey heads, different shape head. I buy the Shakey heads and I get them in green pumpkin, and I go with the 2/0 EWG. So it's a little bit bigger than this one because I tend to throw some bigger baits at times on the Shakey head. Okay, I like to throw the Z-Man Fatty Z. You hear me talk about the Fatty Z all the time. I like to throw bigger 6 and 7 inch worms. I like to throw crawbaits on my Shakey heads at times. So that little extra hook goes a long ways. So these are just a few different tricks that you can try to catch more fish. Now I will say, with this rig, you can do this with a lot of different baits, right? You can do this with the beaver if you wanted to. Okay, rig it backwards. Do the same thing with a beaver. It's going to glide away from you more. You can do this with a Sanshouo, which doing it with a Sanshouo is going to be somewhat similar to a Neko rig, except it's weedless. I'm not probably going to throw it on a Sanshouo, but it's just the ideas there. Experiment with it. Try different things. You never know. A brush hog. Thinking outside the box, trying different things is always a good way to get bit, because I don't know about where you guys fish, but where I fish, there is an abundance of people, an abundance of pressure, and these fish see all this stuff. Okay, unless you get into some unique baits like Don't Say I Told You So, but the Ica, very, very good bait, probably underfished. And those fishing it don't talk about it much. The other one I really, really like, 6.5 inch Yamamoto cut tail. Took them off the market. They're very hard to get, very hard to find. I ran into them in a tackle shop this last summer at a tournament, and we bought all of them between me and my buddy. Hopefully GSH decides to bring that bait back like they did the Sanshouo. Speaking of which, the Sanshouo is another great bait. If you don't know what it is, go on Yamamoto's site. I'll probably put a link here for you guys. I think they're the only ones to get it from. I don't think they send them to distributors. I think it's on their site only, but I'll put a link in the description. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down there. Let's see if we can get to 2,900. We're only like 65 away. You guys have been doing great. I really appreciate it. Sean the Average Angler. We'll see you on the next one.